The final days and nights of a long-standing local tradition were marked by good cheer, by bad feelings, and by violence. Cal Poly President Warren Baker said this year's on-campus event was well-run and a tremendous success. Unfortunately, as we've seen, off-campus events spun out of control. Here's a look back at the street fighting, which ended a 58-year tradition designed to showcase college spirit and educational excellence.
Sorry. Dr. Adams.
Officer injured. We brought him back to California in Foothill.
Get out here! Come on out, pal. Hold on. Jesus, I haven't done anything, man. I didn't leave, did you? Go.
All told, police arrested 112 people. At this point, they tell us they don't know exactly how many people taken into custody were Cal Poly students or Cuesta students, and how many may have been from out of town. The full extent of the injuries suffered this weekend may never be known. We do know one policeman suffered a broken arm, another a broken finger. One student is hospitalized with a serious head wound. More than 80 people were treated at local emergency rooms this weekend. In addition to those physical injuries, there were spiritual ones as well. The on-campus Poly Royal, the real reason for the weekend, suffered a fatal blow. It is canceled indefinitely, and police agencies say that's the right thing to do. Lynn Deal is covering that story. She joins us now live. Lynn?
Alan, it doesn't even look like the same place out here at California and Foothill. As you can see behind me, it's calm out here today. It's quiet. It's difficult to imagine the events of Friday and Saturday night were so bad that it would have put an end to the on-campus orderly event. This is what it looked like to the police department. Behind the police lines, bricks and rocks, bottles, cans, you name it, came flying at police officers as they moved in on the 1,000-plus crowd. Now, the strategy outlined by the San Luis Obispo Police Department this morning was to be firm but friendly over the weekend, but a mob mentality fueled by alcohol was apparently just too much. All sides this morning, regrettably, but firmly said the event just can't go on.
That type of assaultive behavior is something that I know this community does not support. I know the student community does not support that. And that only makes it that much more disappointing that we have to come to the end of Poly Royal as we have known it.
But I have an obligation to the student body as well as this community, and everyone, including our students, are victimized by the unruly crowds and the hostile behavior.
Now, authorities both on campus and in the police department still may identify students and others who are involved. And Alan, we were told in the press conference this morning that the Cal Poly is not really sure what jurisdiction it has, but it is looking into the legal avenues it may have. And the students who were identified and arrested and involved in the events over the weekend may still face further disciplinary action. It's not known whether they could be expelled by the school, but they're certainly looking into that. Back to you.
Lynn, we have heard a lot and seen a lot in recent years about the tremendous positive aspects of Poly Royal. Is there any chance that this can come back in some form in future years, or is it simply dead?
Well, I posed that question to President Baker this morning, and everyone seemed a bit discouraged by that, but they did say that they will be evaluating it, and from that, what we take that to mean is that they will be looking at ways to bring back the academic portion, but certainly they say the time constraints, that probably won't be next year, and it will never be, as I was told by President Baker, the same way as it's been in the past 58 years. The Poly Royal, as we have known it, no longer exists.
Okay, thank you very much. Lynn Deal reporting live from near the Cal Poly campus. Joining us now live in the studio, one of the people who was right in the middle of all this, Chief Jim Gardner of the San Luis Obispo Police Department. And Chief, I want to thank you for being here. And I say right in the middle, and I mean that in a couple ways. You put a lot of time and energy this year into talking with students, talking with university officials, other city officials, trying to head off some of the problems that we saw in development. Can you tell me what you were thinking this weekend when you saw a lot of work start to fall apart?
Well, it was extreme disappointment. The efforts that people had made over the years involved literally thousands of hours this year trying to change the image. I know the students had worked very hard trying to emphasize that this was an educational, not a party weekend, and certainly the police department was trying to support them in that, and it was extremely disappointing.
Is there, I know in a situation like this, there's really no way to predict what a crowd of 1,000 or 2,000 people are going to do when that kind of psychology takes over. Given some problems, minor Thursday night, and some growing problems Friday night and early Saturday morning, could we have been better prepared from a police point of view?
For Saturday night in particular, we doubled the amount of enforcement. Rather than waiting until a problem developed, we actually asked for reinforcements and assistance from the San Luis Sheriff's Department and CHP, who were basically doubling our deployment that night. Even with those additional resources, we still had the problems.
Now, we have seen a lot of videotape this weekend and tonight, and I was there personally and saw a lot of what I thought was true courage in the police lines late Saturday night and early Sunday morning. Can you describe for people who weren't there what kind of feeling you get when you look and you see a crowd like this and you know that you are the enemy, or at least the objective?
Right. If you're on this end of the rock, Alan, if you don't have good common sense and be afraid, then you're not having good common sense. The types of problems the officers face in those assaults certainly were threatening. Every officer who was out there on that line was hit at some point in time. That fear is something that has to be controlled, and again, you have the responsibility to the rest of the public to control the situation, so you act courageously, and I think that's expected, and I think the officers did an outstanding job in doing that.
In the face of in a very dangerous situation. Yes. You have some exhibits that prove how dangerous it was.
This just shows, and I don't know if your camera can pick it up, but this whole face shield has been shattered, and this is the type of rock that the officers faced out there. Fortunately, the face shields worked, and we received no life-threatening injuries.
Just broken right there.
Broken right in half. Right. And unfortunately, this is only one of about 5 helmets that are in similar condition from the same type of assault.
Okay. Thank you very much. A
Alan,
tough weekend, and Jim, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, the San Luis Obispo Chamber of Commerce estimates each year Poly Royal brings between $3 and $5 million in revenue to the area. Today, word that the event has been canceled brought mixed reactions from business owners. Employees at Cuesta Canyon Lodge say the hotel stands to lose up to $10,000 if the event is not held next spring. Already, they've received more than 20 requests for rooms for next year's event. But businesses which fell victim to rioters are glad to see it canceled.
At this point, I suppose that's the only answer that would not create another riot. I'm sure somebody's going to have to investigate and figure out what to do with a situation like this. I know I wouldn't want another one of these things. Somebody can get hurt next time. Luckily, nobody got hurt badly this time.
Reynolds' neighbors across the street say they feel exactly the same way. At McMahon's, more than $5,000 in damage was done to the windows, and Ogden Stationery had its windows busted out as well. Well, the cancellation of next year's Poly Royal comes as a blow to the students who spent hours and hours perfecting exhibits for this year's event. Those exhibits range from a demonstration of a dye laser, which is used for eye surgery, to a stream of water droplets, which appear to stand still. Students involved say this showcase provided something that lectures just don't. And students say not only will Poly Royal's cancellation be a loss for them, but for the future chemists and the physicists who were awed by those exhibits. Now, many of those out and about over the weekend had, of course, been drinking. San Luis Obispo's Alcohol Services Agency says 1 out of every 4 people arrested locally on first offense drunk driving charges is a Cal Poly student. Alcohol therapists say it's a drug of choice among our nation's youth. It's a socially acceptable high advertised on every street corner.
I think that the youth have the attitude that's reflected in the community that alcohol is a okay drug, that it's the least dangerous of the drugs, and that it represents celebration, it represents having a good time, it represents glamour, it represents all of the things that the media says that it represents.
Jeter says it's up to the community to increase public awareness, saying young people must understand the impacts of alcohol abuse.